and welcome to another Teacher's Corner. I'm Teacher Kirby, and before we get started, please remember if you like what you see to click that like, subscribe, or join button, and remember if you'd like to be notified of new videos to ring that bell. Also, if you'd like to support Teacher's Corner in another way, please consider becoming a patron. You can do that at my Patreon page, which the link to that is coming up in the top right hand corner of this video. Alright, now that I've gotten that out of the way, let's move on. So we have this time the counter command reputation. I'm going to the counter command reputation. This continues our series of reputations, and this is also known as the 8472 reputation or the Undine reputation. You may hear it called or referred to as either one of these three things. Okay? Like all reputations currently in STO, it has 6 tiers at the time of this recording, and we're going to go over each of them and then talk about the different gear. Alright, so tier 1, you get 2 abilities. These are ground abilities, mental acuity and mental conditioning. Mental acuity increases damage while aiming. This is a passive ability, and this is actually quite good because aiming gives its own passive bonus, so this actually increases it with a 10% bonus damage. So this is a category 2 quite good damage bonus, and this will affect, for engineers out there, this will affect things that you create or put down. For example, it will increase the damage of your mines and other things, other fabrications. Alright, and then we have mental conditioning. This increases control resistance and psionic damage resistance. So, alright, and then we have for tier 2, these are space abilities. Tactical precision increases accuracy when a tactical bridge officer ability is used, and crucial component redistribution increases control resistance and anti-proton damage resistance. Tier 3, you get empathetic adaptation and empathic adaptation and empathic reverberation, and these increase chance to increase shield hardness when hit, or chance to reflect energy and psionic damage when hit. And then the tier 4 is the space version of those two. And tier 5, you get the biomolecular shield generator. This is actually quite a good little shield generator and quite a good little trait. It will give you a shield bubble in space, and let me tell you, this thing works like crazy. It will affect all of your allies that are within the bubble, and it heals your shields very, very quickly and keeps them up. So definitely a good little oh crap button, or oh shit button, as we say, and definitely a good thing to have. Alright, and then tier 6, of course, gives the rank 2 of all of these abilities. Okay? Alright. Now, let's talk about, before we do anything else, I forgot to show you where you can get these marks. Okay, so there's a couple places where you can get these marks. And see, Undine marks, remember I said Undine rep, was one of the ways that you could hear this referred to. So, yeah, that's all of them. Alright, so we have Borg disconnected, Borg Disconnected gives a lot of different marks, as you can see, one of which is Undine marks. We also have Undine Assault. Undine Assault is actually one of my favorites. If you do it right, you can actually get about 200 to 300 marks from this one mission if you do the optional correctly. And you can talk to your teammates or even ask me in the Kirby After Dark channel, or seek me out in game and I will teach you how to do that. We have then Undine Infiltration Advanced. This is a ground mission. It is worthy to note that you need to make sure, be careful how you answer the questions during the questioning phase, because it is possible to lose the mission for everybody, especially on the elite level of this mission. And then you have Viscous Cycle, and that is another space mission. There you go. And then there's also the Undine Space Battle Zone, which you can get to through the Dyson Sphere, similar to the way you get to the Dyson Ground Battle Zone. Alright, and there we go. Alright, so we've gone over where to get these marks. We've gone over the things you get at each tier. Now, we're going to take a look at the gear. Normally we go over ground gear first, but we're going to do that last. You'll see why when we get there. Okay, so space gear, we have first a console. The console is called the Hydrodynamics Compensator. This is actually a pretty good console. It gives some energy power settings, some auxiliary power setting. We love those multitaskers. Some weapon accuracy, and some flight turn rate. So all around, this is a hefty little multitasker. It also gives, actually, yeah, that's it. So, but it is a good little multitasker, and we like it. It is part of the Counter Command Ordnance set. We'll get to that a little later. Okay, then we have, there are 4 different types of turrets if you're at tier 6. If you're at tier 5 or under, you will only see 2. The original 2 types are Disruptor and Phaser, with Plasma and Tetryon being the alternate types. But we'll take a look. So we have the Heavy Biomolecular. They come in Disruptor, Plasma, Phaser, and Tetryon if you are tier 6. And really, they're all the same except for their flavor. Okay? So they have a 360-degree targeting arc. They give an amount of their damage. Let's see. They have a biomolecular incubation. This is what's special about them. The biomolecular incubation gives your enemy minus 16.7 flight speed for 8 seconds. And when that expires, gives an amount of radiation damage which ignores shields. And that damage is doubled versus the Undine. Okay? Alright, and then of course you get the normal proc for your weapon on each one. So if you have the Disruptor, you get the minus 10 damage resistance. If you have the Plasma, you get the plasma damage, DOT. Phaser, you have the chance to shut down one random subsystem. And Tetryon, the chance to drain or damage shields. Okay? Other than that, they are exactly the same. The next piece of the ordnance would be the ordnance set, would be the biomolecular photon torpedo, or enhanced biomolecular photon torpedo. This is actually a very good torpedo when you use it with high yield. It does travel a little slowly, but it is not destructible, and it packs a wallop. Okay, but it does have a bunch of kinetic damage versus non-Undine, a bit of extra versus Undine, and it also carries the biomolecular incubation. Same thing, has a bit more flight speed reduction for 8 seconds, and gives a radiation damage for ignored shields and double damage versus Undine. It comes out with 20% critical severity and 2% critical chance baked in, and because it is photon, it has a 6-second recharge. Okay, now I want to be clear here. Only if you use more than one of these turrets here, only one is going to count towards your set. Now this is a 4-piece set, so if we count the console, one turret, and then the torpedo, that's only 3 pieces. You get the 4th piece, and this is the first time we see this in a reputation. You know, assuming reputations are appearing or doing things as the game advances. The first time we see a reputation set having a piece that is in an episode, and I believe is it this one? Surface, yes it is, surface tension, and I will have to skip to it. Skip, so you can see it. Okay, skip. Okay, and so you can see here we have the choice of a few things, and one of them is console tactical counter command multi-conduit energy relay. This is the 4th piece of the counter command ordnance set, and this gives 13.1 phaser damage, 13.1 disruptor damage, and some radiation damage, and photon projectile weapon damage. Okay, and again, this is the 4th piece of that set. Now, it's important to note this is not universal. This is a tactical console. Okay? Alright. So, close that out. Now, the set bonuses are actually quite interesting as well. So, for the ordnance set, that's the 2 consoles, the turret, 1 turret, and God, I can't speak today, and the torpedo, the enhanced biomolecular torpedo. 2-piece set bonus, which is actually quite popular, is 7.5% bonus phaser, disruptor, plasma, and tetryon energy damage. This used to be just phaser and disruptor. It was upgraded when Tier 6 came out. Okay? So this gives bonus damage, which means it is Category 2. It is quite good. Alright? And then there's 2% increased chance for biomolecular weapons to apply their incubation buffs, which means instead of it being a 2.5% chance, now it's a 4.5% chance because of this 2-piece set bonus. The 3-piece set bonus gives you heavy biomolecular turret barrage, which means assuming you have a heavy biomolecular turret, there's a 3-minute recharge, and it upgrades your heavy biomolecular turret to deal damage to foes within 5 kilometers. Applies the biomolecular incubation to all affected targets. That means that for that time, while it is active, you are guaranteed to get the biomolecular incubation on every target that turret hits. Okay. And then the fourth set is called, or fourth 4-piece set bonus. Words are hard today. 4-piece set bonus is called Degenerative Wave Signature. Energy weapons have a 1% chance to reduce hull healing by 50% for 10 seconds, to disable hull regeneration for 10 seconds, to remove one active heal over time effect, max 1 per 10 seconds, and the debuff effect does not stack. So in other words, you're not going to get it again. And the chance increases to 10% versus Undine. So what this means is it gives you a very, very small chance to reduce the hull healing, disable hull regeneration, and remove one active heal over time effect on your foe. And and that increases to 10% chance versus Undine. So it's a much better chance versus Undine than versus others. Alright, so that is the space weapon set. Now let's take a look at the space ship set, meaning the deflector array, the impulse engines, the warp core, and the warp core and singularity core, and the covariant shield. Alright, so first we have the deflector array. Now the deflector array has some accuracy, some energy training. It's a good little heavy lifter so far. Projectile weapon training, very well rounded. Hull capacity, shield capacity. Starship exotic particle generator, 26.2. Not all that great, but it's okay. It's better than some others we've seen. And Starship control expertise. This is actually okay. If you can't find anything else or don't have access to anything else, this is one of the few that has a mix of Starship exotic particle generator and control expertise, which is a good combo for a gravity well build. Okay? And then, but all in all, a pretty well-rounded deflector array, to be honest. It has something for people looking for DPS. It has something for people looking for a little bit of extra survivability, and it has something for people looking for a little bit of science. But as they say, jack of all trades, master of none. It's not really the best for any one thing, but it is pretty well rounded. So if you have nothing else, then it's an okay thing to use. Alright, and moving on, we have the Counter Command Hyper Impulse engines. And these are faster than other engines while at high engine power. So you would only want to use these if you keep your engine power high. That's when you're going to see the most benefit from them. You do have a added inertia, added defense rating, and a plus 12.8 flight speed, as well as a plus 15.3 flight turn rate. And it counters the negative effect on friction in fluidic space. So if you do a lot of flying in fluidic space, it's a good one to have. Or if you just get super annoyed with that mission where you visit fluidic space, then this is a good engine to have during that mission. Okay. And let's keep going. We have the Counter Command Hyper Injection Warp Core. This is one of the first where we're seeing a warp core start to come into play here. Okay. And again, this has some engine power, adds some maximum engine power. The maximum engine power means that instead of capping out at 125, your engine power will now cap out at 130. Okay, and then you get some engine subsystem performances, which gives you a little extra engine power and adds some of your engine power to your weapon power as bonus damage. Don't worry, this doesn't that does not deplete your engine power at all. And gives a reduced cooldown on transwarp slipstream drive recharges, cuts it in half, as well as gives a 33% engine power drain resistance. Okay, and counters the debuffs on starship movement in fluidic space. Alright, so pretty much nice well-rounded warp core. Same thing with the singularity core. Really nothing of note here. And then we have the counter command covariant shield. This has a 10% bleed through, has a high amount of capacity, as well as a decent mid-range amount of regeneration, and it does reduce anti-proton damage to shields by 20% when hit by directed energy attacks. You have a 2.5% chance to drain 10 weapon power from the attacker. Okay? Alright. That may be something else. Let me... Nope. That would be a function of the shield, because I'm not running that other set. Okay. I have to think for a second. Okay, so that is the 4-piece of the counter command space set. And let's go over the 4-piece bonuses. So we have the 2-piece set bonus, biomolecular enhanced defense. This gives plus 12 anti-proton damage bonus resistance rating. So if you're going up against somebody who uses anti-proton, this will help you withstand their attacks. It also gives you plus 10 defense rating. 3-piece set bonus gives you a clickable biomolecular fluidic space counter blast. This affects your foe in a 3-kilometer sphere. And it has a 2-minute recharge, so you're probably only going to get this off once during most TFOs. And this is to your target. It gives a large amount of radiation damage, a negative 9.1% flight speed for 15 seconds, and actually to Undine it gives a negative 33.33% flight speed, so it reduces by a full third versus Undine. It destroys fluidic rift puddles, and skills that affect this ability are exotic particle generators, so you can really crank it up if you have a lot of EPG on this. Alright, so this could come in handy if you're doing a lot of Undine missions. This 3-piece set bonus could come in quite handy. The 4-piece set bonus is the biomolecular reactive shielding system. This has a 3-minute recharge. It absorbs a large amount of points of damage for 45 seconds. On expiration, it gives a large amount of radiation damage to up to 10 enemies in a 5-kilometer radius with 50% shield pen. It gives a small amount of radiation damage every second for 15 seconds, so a small amount of damage over time on the targets affected by the initial radiation blast, and it will knock them back. And you also have the biomolecular enhanced precision, which gives you plus 10 accuracy rating. So, all in all, not terrible, but again, you're going to find that other things in the game as we move on, we'll outperform or outclass this set. Alright, so now we're going to move on to the ground. I said we were going to do the ground last because reasons, and you're going to find out what they are. Okay, so let's put that up, and we want ground. Alright, so first things is our three-piece ground set. Normal stuff, we have the exo armor, and that gives us a good amount of physical damage, kinetic damage, energy damage, toxic damage resistance. That's the thing, toxic and psionic damage for 8472 is the toxic and psionic damage. And for 3 seconds after performing a roll, you gain dodge, avoidance, and run speed. Okay? Alright, so that's the exo armor. For the personal shield, we get some psionic damage, some root resistance, hold resistance, knockback resistance, and as well as the normal things that come with the shield. And you also have a 2% chance to release an energy repulsion wave that deals 25% of the damage of the attack to the enemies within 7.5 yards, as well as knocking them back, and that trigger chance is doubled when hit by psionic attacks, and it can only be triggered once every 2 seconds. Okay, and okay, now we have a number of different flavors of this rifle. We have Disruptor, we have Phaser, we have Plasma, and we have Polaron. Okay, these are all part of the set, only one counts. So, and they're pretty much all the same. Of course, we have a amount of disruptor damage. We have a disruptor damage over time with a delayed area of effect, meaning that it gives damage, it gives an amount of damage every second for a few seconds, with a delayed thing that affects everything within a certain amount, within a certain area. And there we go. And this is true for all of the different flavors of our weapons. Now, let's go over the set bonuses, and then we'll get to the special thing. Okay, so our set bonuses for our thing. First of all, for the costume, if you want the 8472 costume, armor costume, it is unlocked by accolade completion once all pieces of the set have been acquired. Alright, the set powers. 2-piece set power is the biomolecular conduits. This gives you 10% phaser, disruptor, plasma, and polaron damage, plus 5 critical chance. Reduces the unstable beam's time to detonation by 33%, and reduces unstable beam's recharge time by 2 seconds. The 3-piece set bonus is the unstable biomolecular personal shield. Okay, and this targets yourself. This has a 3-minute recharge, and just like with the space version, it absorbs a large amount of damage for 15 seconds. On expiration, it gives a radiation proc for up to 10 enemies, and then it gives a radiation damage over time, damage every second for 8 seconds to affected targets, along with a knockback or a pushback. It also gives biomolecular instability, which increases biomolecular energy weapons proc chance by 2%, meaning instead of having 2.5% chance for it to go off, it now has 4.5. Alright, and the 4-piece set bonus is the toxin inoculant. When receiving toxic damage, 25% chance to gain plus 20 toxic damage resistance rating for 30 seconds. Stacks up to 3 times. So you can have 60 toxic damage resistance for 30 seconds. Okay. And so now the special thing here is that you notice we have a kit module. Now, kit modules haven't been seen in Reputations before, and you'll notice this is a science character, so you see a science kit module here. Now, the science kit module is nanite sonic pulse. It gives an amount of radiation damage, and with extra amount of damage versus Undine, knocks back a certain amount of meters, reduces run speed, and gives a slight hold for Undine. And it has a slight recharge. This is the nanite sonic pulse. However, there is a different kit module for engineers and tactical officers. This is why I wanted to wait until later. Before I forget, there is also part of the set bonus here is the profession specific kit. And just like with the multi-conduit energy relay, the profession specific kit you can get by running surface tension. These kits here, the counter command, engineering, science, and tactical, are the fourth part of the counter command elite set. Alright. Now, the kit modules. So we have science here, which we went over. Now, I'm going to show you the lovely Gornalicious. Come on, there we go. The lovely Gornalicious will model for you. Come on, okay. For the engineer, you get the nanite medical generator. This is actually quite nice as medical generators go. It is a bit more effective. It creates a medical generator for 3 minutes, which it regenerates your hit points, gives a damage resistance rating, gives a plus 30 bonus psionic damage resistance, gives a resistance to toxic damage, and yeah, so quite a nice little medical generator. If you are a tactical officer, then you will get a tactical module, and that looks like, just a second, and here we go, close that, and that looks like this. This is the biomolecular photon grenade, and like with all the biomolecular weaponry, this has a biomolecular incubation on it, which reduces run speed, and on expiration gives an amount of radiation damage, which ignores shield, and the damage is double versus the Undine. Okay, so quite an interesting little reputation here. We see a few new things. We see the introduction of kit modules to reputations. We see the introduction of pieces of reputation sets being set as mission rewards, and yeah, and we see multiple we see things like torts of 2 different energy types being in there with only one counting towards the set bonus. So this is the first time we see all of these things, these 3 things, in a reputation. So there you go. Alright, so this is Teacher Kirby. This has been the 8472 or Undine or Counter Command reputation. You will hear it called one or all or any of these 3. If you have any questions, feel free to leave comments below, and I hope you learned something.